You alright, Dave?
We shouldn't have done this. Shouldn't have done this project at all. Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Games Changers. Excuse the very messy garage. It's no longer a showroom, it's now a working garage. So whilst me and Dave have been the past few days getting all the stuff from Strom wheels, which are all stacked there, and then we have all the stuff that we picked up the other day from Darren, which is the handbrakes and all those things and lights and all the little bits of the car. So we haven't seen Ryan properly for the past few days, and he's been busy. And now he's busy just destroying the car. I've come in at a bad point, haven't you?
Yeah,
But I will say, we haven't really said this to you, but the cage is looking phenomenal. Like, it looks like you've done some amount of work in the past few days. All of this panel here is one of the last panels is this all glued every inch of the way?
one single bolt. It's all glue. Fiberglass, so you can't pull it or you break it. You can't heat it up or it goes on fire. I think I'm gonna give it like another hour, and if I don't make any headway, just stay on.
So that is Ryan's problem at the moment, and apparently I'm going to help him in a little bit. So moving on to a little update on my car. So the Dan Pryor Destroyer Die, he started making the kit already, and he was asking about the size of the wheels that we're going to be putting on. And we actually have a tire that we're supposedly going to be running. So we're going to take one of the front wheels, mount the tire on there, and then we're going to put it onto the car and send him some pictures and see about the clearance, how far it sticks out, how far he can make it stick out, and it just give him a better understanding of where the wheel actually sits on the car, so he can kind of say he can push it out a little bit, but he doesn't want to push it out too much and everything like that. So we're going to do that for him, send him some pictures. You're having fun. Everything is on fire. It's a good job fiberglass didn't set on fire.
It does.
I think that's what's happened there. Oh no! Is that getting your mouth?
It's just the smoke.
Oh, that's stinking. Getting out of here. Right, I'm going to take these tires up to Wayne and pester him to, or ask him politely to mount up the tires. So me and Dave are actually running two different size wheels. So on the front we're running the 18x9, so we're both actually running that. And then on the backs, because we've been told by Darren, who is the advisor for this build, that putting a wider tire on the back of my car may actually make it worse handling or worse for grip and stuff like that. So we've actually gone for 18 and a 9.5, whereas Dave's going to be running the 10.5, so he's going to be on 265s, and I think I'm going to be on 245. Potentially, we may switch around. We'll see when we actually get to testing the cars, but in theory, this is what we're going to go with and see how it works first. Okay, the time it took me to go back and get the camera, Wayne already unboxed the wheels, which we unboxed a few episodes ago, still looking fresh. And the guys at Tire Box, they dropped over two of the tires kindly that we are going to be running. So we're running a semi-slick on the front, which is a Federal 595 RS Pro, and it's a 225 4018. And on the back we're going to be running probably a combination of tyres, because in the UK you'd be able to run semi-slicks, and in Ireland, if it's the same as this year, we're only allowed to run road tyres. This was the tyre that Dave ran last time. This is a High Fly, which was supposed to be pretty much the same as the Gold Line tyre which I run, and as a road tyre we thought it was unbelievable. We compared about, I would say, 5 tyres, and that one was easily the best out of all. So we're gonna mount these up. I need the front ones most of all. So I need to put them on and see the clearance, how much they stick out the arch, everything like that to give to Destroy or Die. For his measurements to make it a bit easier for him to make a better angle kit for the NC. Both of these tires are in stock from the tire box, so if you guys are in the market for a semi-slick or a good road tire, hit them up and they'll be able to sort you the pretty much the best prices around. We'll drop the link somewhere. So we shall throw this one on first. We have the front wheel onto there. I'm gonna let Wayne do this because quite frankly, I do not want to touch a new wheel. I can barely do this on a crappy steel wheel.
Just want to give a quick shout out to one of our partners here at Drift Games, Mobil 1 Oil. Mobil 1 have been on board with us for a couple of years now, and we use their lubricants in absolutely every car, whether it's a road car or a drift car. And these guys support every sort of motorsport in the world, everything from the Red Bull Formula 1 team all the way to your budget car in the driveway. So if you want your car to stay reliable, even if it's high performance or just your regular daily driver, make sure you choose Mobil 1 Oil.
Okay, so we're back down in our shed and it's been a bit of a disaster day, to be honest. We thought we could get this off handy, and as you can see, it's just cracking when we're trying to pry it. So pretty much all of this, as we said, glued on. By the sounds of it, you can't take it off. So the main reason why we were going to take it off is because this is the side skirt, essentially. That is, in drifting, the first place of contact will be around the door and hitting in there. So we were gonna take it off and reinforce behind here, so there'd be kind of like a bar there so it wouldn't just bend in and break and everything like that. So that piece to get carbon is around €1,000. So instead of ripping it off, breaking it, we're just gonna leave it on there and hopefully it'll last a season or so without breaking, and that way we haven't spent the money on it because, as you know, these bills are running quite high. So anyway, we can save a bit of money, we're trying to do at the moment. So we're going to leave them as they are. If they break during the season, then we've got to deal with it, but hopefully Dave's going to be some pilot in it. It's going to be that fast that no one can get near him. So we've got the wheels mounted down here, so we're going to put the wheels on the front of my car and see how they're going to look. Turn into an absolute disaster because these nuts are rubbish. So I need to go around here, find a few more studs to make it easier to put these on properly, and then we'll be able to get some pictures and be able to send them on to the guys at Destroy or Die.
Alright guys, I'm interrupting the work going on at the moment because we've got to a very interesting part of this Games Changers project. Now it's -1, maybe 1 degree at the moment, and I'm in a pair of shorts, which is not where I want to be. This is the scariest part of this entire project for me because you might think it's the budget, you might think it's all this time frame of building all these cars, getting better at driving, but the one thing that nobody addresses in drifting, especially when it comes to buying expensive lightweight parts for my Corvette, is that I need to be a little bit lightweight myself. I am a heavy person in my very lightweight car, so instead of spending more money on trying to make my car lighter, I'm going to try and make myself lighter and also get a little bit fitter along the way too. It may sound like a total extreme, but I think it might give us an advantage, and if we have any advantage we can take, why not we take it? I mean, Josh is a skinny little so he doesn't need to do any of this. So I'm going to jump into Ironworks gym here in Enfield, which is about half an hour outside Dublin. Siobhan is a good friend of mine, and I'm putting her to the test now. Can she get me in shape by the start of the new season? So let's go in and see what she's got to say. Hey Siobhan.
Hey.
How are you?
Good.
So, in drifting, and I was just saying to the guys on camera, nobody ever mentions the word fitness, ever. It's literally one of the only motorsports in the world where people don't train, they don't go to the gym, and I've spent a lot of money trying to take, you know, very small grams and kilograms out of my drift car to make it lighter.
Okay.
But there's an obvious weight in the car that needs to be kind of sorted out. So I need to kind of, for a couple of reasons. One is obviously to lose some weight. Two is to be fitter, because the fitter you are, the more you don't get fatigue in the car if it's a warm day or you're doing a lot of driving, and my fitness levels for concentration and stuff like that. Also, hand-eye coordination is kind of important in drifting as well. And in the States, a lot of the top drivers have a lot of fitness programs. So if they're doing it, it must be a reason for them doing it.
Right.
So we have less than probably 100 and maybe 35 days before we need to get to the point where I'm out testing and we're weighing the car and we're weighing me. So a big challenge ahead.
Right, and what weight do you need to be?
I think I need to lose like 2 stone. Like that's kind of where I need to be. And that's a lot, I suppose, in that time frame.
It is, but if you work hard, we can do it.
Now there's the other side of this is that I don't like the gym, I don't work hard, I eat fast food, I travel all the time and eat terrible food, and then I don't spend any time thinking about food or nutrition. My sleep pattern's probably pretty bad. And I mentioned that I didn't like the gym or that stuff. So this is
mentioned that once or twice.
So this is going to be for me not like I'm jumping in here going, yeah, this is what I do all the time. So this is going to be a big culture shock.
Right. Okay.
I'm not going to show you guys workouts every week because that's not what this channel is about. It's about cars. So what I'm going to do is check back in a couple of weeks and see how we're getting on, and if me and Siobhan are still friends, or basically I've fallen apart and I'm sitting at Burger King on the M7 just crying into burgers. But we're going to try and do it. We're going to try and lose some weight. So back to the guys. I'm building the cars, which is the more fun bit for you guys to watch. But just remember, while they're struggling to build the cars, I am also struggling to try and be fit. So it's not easy. It's not easy out there.
Start running.
Perfect.
Okay, so it's a new day, a fresh day, hopefully a better day, because the last time we were here, we're having problems with these bits and having problems with the wheels on the cars, but on this car the arch is on, and as you can see, the wheel, if it was to be put on the floor, would probably camber in to be inside the arch. There's not actually that much poke on these wheels, so as you can see, if that was to give it any more lug, it'd be hitting on there, whereas if it's pushed out, it would have the clearance to give the maximum amount of lock. So that's kind of good news with these wheels, because if they were a more dished or more concave to be a wider wheel, you look ridiculous. As for Ryan, he's now been able to plow on after the escapade you had with the side skirt.
There was no escapade.
Well, it didn't go very well. You've had to essentially mask and judge where the chassis rail is.
Yeah, so because we don't have the doors, we were sent measurements by HCK on the cage that they did to match the doors. So I had to take those measurements, but he sent us the measurements that are taken off the chassis. So we can't see the chassis, so we have to try and guess where the chassis is.
So that's your
So
laser.
It's my laser line there, is what that is.
So there's a lot of wing in it, and the thing is with these doors, they're like over £1,000, and they're kind of that because there's a fancy recess for the cage, which is a great idea if you have if you have the doors.
Let's give it.
Okay.
And then that's the door, so it has like a recess in it.
So essentially, if you've guesstimated this wrong, that's what you're basing all your measurements
If I've
off.
guesstimated this wrong, the €1,000 doors are going to come when the car is freshly painted. I'm going to bolt them on, I'm going to close the door, and it's going to bounce back to you.
Just for Ryan's sake, he definitely did not want to do this and wanted to wait for the doors to come so he could do them a lot tidier, whereas we said we don't have time for that. And then essentially this car is going to be going for paint in about a week sort of thing. So this, whilst my car's being worked on, this will be going for paint to get the whole inside painted. So Ryan didn't have the luxury of waiting for the doors.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which he's not too happy about.
So all we have to do now is fit the door bars, the front roof crush bar, and the dash bar. We're actually waiting for the steering column to come. So I might move off of this and do the front and rear dash bars.
But the steering column bar is a very simple, straight.
Yeah,
so you can wait.
We're just waiting for the steering column bracket to come, just so we can get it perfect for Dave and his height and whatever. So.
Right, I'm gonna let you crack on with that. By the end of today, we should have finished the inside of the cage then.
Okay, yeah.
So for you guys, you actually be able to see the complete process of that. As for these, I'm gonna send a few pictures off and see what Dan Pryor, Destroy or Die, says about it, and hopefully he can get cracking on the kit, and hopefully today will be more productive than the past week, because I'm learning in these build processes that some days just aren't as productive as others, unfortunately. You're very precise there with this bit.
I told you, the door bar is the one thing everybody sees.
So essentially you're trying to make it exactly the same as the other side.
Exactly. If we were walking through Mondello one day and I'd be like, that Corvette has crooked door bars. See, they're all off, just the smallest bit off zero. So they're like half a degree at a tilt. So they all have to be half a degree at a tilt.
Why did you put them half a degree of tilt?
Because you can never really find true zero. Because like on the pipe like that, you get 9 or you get 0, right? But if you put it slightly back a bit, it'll be off. So the chances of getting it, where if you purposely put them a little bit at a tilt, fine. But if they're off 0, you'll know.
Does this send you crazy?
I wouldn't sleep at night. Perfection takes time. The middle one's off, it's like just a touch. No, I actually think it's bang on.
I think you're putting too much thought into this now.
I always put too much thought into things.
I was saying the same time it took you to line these up, you would have put the rest of the cage up again.
As I said, it's the only bit you're gonna see. You ain't gonna see any of that. I could have made a hames of that bit. You'll never see it. But you're gonna see this bit. Damn, it's gonna look good.
Here at Drift Games, we absolutely love online drifting. But more importantly, for you guys watching at home, we want to get you in the game as well. So we've partnered up with digitalmotorsports.com, Ireland's first online sim store, who are experts in everything when it comes to online drifting. And they're going to give you guys a full free sim rig at the end of this series. Now, I know you want to know, how do you win? But it's quite simple. Every single episode of Games Changers, we're going to release a letter. It looks a bit like this. And that letter will form a sentence. And at the end of the series, the first person who can put that full sentence together correctly wins a full simulator. Now that's not bad going.
Okay, so I had to come down and check out the progress on the Corvette. We've been busy working behind the scenes on tons of other projects in 2021, but I can't stay away from the shed because my car is finally starting to look like a race car, and Ryan has absolutely knocked it out of the park. This thing is so much more complex and so much neater, more stylish, safer than I even kind of expected it to be. I know we've got one more bar to go in, which is sort of here.
2 more bars to your dash bar as well.
And a dash bar as well. So we just have to get measurements of our steering column to finish the dash bar, and we got one more bar to go in here, which basically means that it's going to be very tight for me actually getting in and out of the car, but I don't care because it looks really, really cool. So that's the most important thing. But it looks amazing, and finally the Corvette looks a bit like a race car. You know, this is the hardest part of a build, is the start, because it's a very slow process at the start. When it starts coming together at the end, when you're bolting on all the parts, it's a really fast process, but this is the one part you don't want to mess up. This is like the foundations of a house, and we have a very strong foundation that Ryan from Vital Fabrication has done. I am over the moon with this, and if he even tries to do as fancy a cage on Josh's car, I'll be annoyed, but I'm sure he is. But this is really, really sweet. So thank you guys for watching another episode of Games Changers. We're finally making some progress. We're finally seeing the car become a race car. However, the time is running low, so wish us luck as we get on to the next stage of this. We have to move on to the bumper bars and onto the cage for the fuel cell and all that kind of stuff, which will just finish off the car, and hopefully we can get it to paint as soon as possible. But yeah, awesome job by Ryan, awesome job by all the guys so far. We're on track, but we are a little bit worried about the time scale. So wish us luck, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next episode.
You alright, Dave?
Shouldn't have done this. Shouldn't have done this project at all.